Hello, my name is Dr. Smarjit Roy. I'll be explaining today about coronavirus. From about 1st of March, I've been doing in-depth research on coronavirus, and my research includes not only studying journals, reports, but also consulting with experts, medical doctors, scientists, researchers, gene therapy practitioners, and a host of other people that I have been talking directly with them. They are expert in this subject, and they have actually, some of them has been involved in treating coronavirus. And I want to share with you a lot of facts and figures which are very, very accurate. And you'll be surprised some of the things I'm going to say, or you'll be surprised that, in the depth that I have gone into. And I'll make some suggestions also, the source and why it is happening, and what is the next stage. Or when I mean next stage, I'm talking about the whole of the year. You can forget 2020, nothing will happen in 2020. It will carry on. It will come back in one way or another way. It will go to different countries. It will, most of them will probably solve, but nothing to shout about. We are in a deep problem. Whole humanity in deep problem. But please try to note what I'm saying, and I will give you some statistics. They are very accurate. Very accurate means it's all up to date. Now, total worldwide people who have been affected by coronavirus is 2.95 million. That means almost 3 million people who has been affected worldwide. And total death to date is about 204,000 people, which is about roughly 7%. The death rate of the coronavirus affected people is 7%, which is very, very high, as you know. Now, there are some significant figures that I will put it to you, and you'll be surprised. And I have got some logical explanation. I'll put it to you, and you can judge whether I'm right or I'm wrong. The people affected in Europe is 1.26 million. And North America is about 1 million. So total people who has suffered coronavirus or affected by coronavirus is 2.26 million people. And it is, it is quite a significant number of people, and it's not halfway even. It is, it is approaching halfway, and it will be double in next 2 months. And I'll come back to you in next 2 months, and I'll prove that I am right actually. Now, the significant thing is that even though it is started in China and it is transmitted through human, it is person-to-person transmission, as you all know. But it's infected, in a very, very short time, because it has traveled very fast actually. Even in infectious term, it has traveled very fast and very wide actually. And mortality rate in Europe is 10%, and North America is 6%. 6% of the people who are affected, and 10% of the people in Europe who are affected. And some significant figures also. Russia has only 760 deaths, and just comparing, Russia is a whole continent, and UK had 20,000 deaths. So there is some, disproportionate amount of death in Europe in general, but in UK in particular. And in Asia, where it is the birthplace, where it started, the infected rate is 4,068,000. And in Turkey, China, and Iran, the total death is about 17,000, so less than 4%. So you can see that 10% average about in Europe. In Asia, there's only less than 4%. Significantly, some people suggested this temperature related. So colder country should be similar than hotter, warmer countries. But in Wuhan, where it started, the temperature at that time was 10 degrees centigrade, and Iran, which is far away, has also 10 degrees centigrade. But the total death is much less in Wuhan than in Iran, percentage-wise. So it is not temperature related at all, in my view. Also, virus seems to be preferably has been affected in developed countries. It's mainly what we call Aryan, white skin, and older ages. That is the group has been affected mostly, actually. And this is due to Rh factor or antibody. I think I've argued before as well that it is an antibody that has prevented Asian and African country where you would expect that it will be affected more, and that didn't happen. And some countries like Thailand, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Qatar, Norway, and Emirates, these countries has very moderate effect on coronavirus. And also I can mention in one state in particular, Kerala has got a very, very low rate of infection and very low rate of death. And this probably also explains that why the Qatar and Emirates are less, because a lot of people is serviced by Kerala medical centers from Qatar and Emirates. That's a fact as well. So they probably have gained for being associated with Kerala. That is one point of view I'm putting. And now, as I said before, the coronavirus has got, the virus is, you have all seen the picture. There are some spikes sticking out, and there's a round shape, and the spike is a glycoprotein, actually. It's a glycoprotein, that is what it is. And outer layer is, ribonucleic acid, RNA. All the medics will identify that. And what happens that when it enters in any live body, like human body, it is a host. So the host body will facilitate multiplying that this virus. So if one virus enters and finds a suitable host, then it will multiply to hundreds of thousands actually. That's why it becomes sensitive. And the innermost layer is the lipid layer. Lipid layer, it holds the virus. Strongly together actually. And only by breaking that lipid layer, you can get rid of the virus. That is the only way. So that is what that will destroy the virus by if you can break the lipid layer. Now there are some tips for COVID-19 preventions, and some of the tips that I will give you. Now we have to understand that the virus is not a living organism. It's not a living organism, but a protein molecule. That's what called DNA. DNA covered by a protective layer, liquid fat, as I said before, and which can absorb by the cells the ocular, nasal, or buccal mucosa. What happened? It mutates their genetic code and converts them into a aggressor and multiplier cells. So what happens is it's a genetic code. Actually, I'm convinced now that it is genetic engineered virus, and I have got quite a lot of evidence that it has been genetically engineered. This virus has been genetically engineered to target certain people of certain countries. That is my very researched opinion. That's what I found out talking to genetic engineers who are in this profession, and they know what they're talking about. And I have been able to talk with them because we communicate on other things, and that's what they told me. It is a genetically engineered virus, and the things that and that's why it's very difficult to kill, because it is not live, so you can't kill it. That is the main thing actually. The virus is very fragile, but the only thing it protects is by a thin layer of fat. That is why any soap or detergent is a better cleaner, or you can get rid of the virus more efficiently by using hot water and soap wash rather than alcohol wash actually. And that again I've explained in my last presentation why it is so. Because rubbing alcohol on any mixture doesn't dissolve any fat. That is a fact. You can try it and test it. Rubbing alcohol does not dissolve any fat. Okay, and this virus is held by a fat, as I said. Now, any mix of bleach, you have heard, President Trump talking about bleach. I'll come back to that later on. But any mix with 1 part bleach and 5 parts of hot water will break the protein actually, which the alcohol will not do it. That I'm very confident about. It may protect, but it doesn't actually kill it. No bacteria or antibiotic will kill. The virus is not, as I said, it cannot kill. So if you have any any alcohol wash or alcohol gel doesn't actually kill it. It may protect you actually, and that's why I've said before, and I explained that why soap water is better than alcohol wash. As I said before, the soap has got two elements. One is a hydrophilic, which loves water, and another is hydrophobic. And now oil and water don't mix, as you know. So what happens when you use the soap? The hydrophobic one attacks the fat and it dissolves, and that's why. And the other hot water, which is hydrophilic, loves water, so it attaches and creates bubbles and it gets washed out actually. And this is something else that I said before, and I strongly believe that just hot water and soap is much better to get rid of virus than alcohol wash. I again say that no alcohol will melt any fat. You can try it. Now I've mentioned about genetic engineering. Now that I'm more and more convinced that it has been genetically engineered virus, and the reason I say so, I'll come to the reason partly, but a Nobel Prize winner at Kyoto University, 78 years, Dr. Honjo, he won a Nobel Prize in 2018, and he developed a way of utilize the immune system more effectively against cancer cell. That was his research topic, and he was awarded a Nobel Prize in 2018. And he knows what he's talking about, because, as I said, he has found how to enhance the immune system by against cancer cells. And this is all I'm talking about, or this coronavirus is we are looking for immune system, and prevention is also another thing that I'll talk about later on actually. Now, this Japanese professor, Dr. Tasuku Honjo, created sensation actually last week, and he has said that this virus is not natural. This virus, corona virus 19, is not natural. It has been digitally organized to get the virus. Actually, it's actually, and he said that if it is natural, it would have adversely affected only those countries having same temperature as China. So if it was, again, I'll repeat that, if it is natural, it will affect adversely only those countries who has similar temperatures as China. Instead, it is spreading in countries like Switzerland in the same way as spreading in desert area, where it is natural. It would have spread, in cold places, not on hot places, and people has died in Switzerland, and also in other places in all over the world. He said that he has done 40 years of research on animal and viruses. So Professor Dr. Honju has done 40 years of research in viruses, and he said that it is not natural. it has been manufactured, and the virus is completely artificial. So it is genetically engineered virus. So as it happens that Dr. Honju has worked in Wuhan laboratory for 4 years, so he does know exactly what type of research goes on, and if it comes from him, he made this statement on last Saturday, 25th of April 2020. So you have to take some some sense about what he has said actually, and it is in my view it is realistic that it has been genetically engineered. Now what is actually the reason that it has so much affected in UK and Italy is that initially, that's another view I'm putting through, that they were more concerned about economy rather than countering the spread of the virus. That was, their shutdown was delayed. They knew the danger, but they had to work out, the effect on economy, and that's why that has delayed, the lockdown, and they are suffering for more than Germany and some other countries, and we have to find a solution now, or somebody has to find a solution now to find a vaccination, and that is not as easy as most people are thinking. It won't happen within a year and a half or even later actually, and the thing is that when the vaccination comes, when the vaccination is approved by any country or all the country, same vaccination will not react to every country. That is again because it has been genetically engineered. So one need to have different vaccine for different countries and different locations. That is again a very worrying thing actually, that all are relying that someday some vaccine will come, but it may work in some countries, it may not work in other countries. Now another strange thing happens last week or early this week, when President Trump has said something about injecting disinfectant in the lungs actually, and everybody, in particular journalists, attacked him, and they made a mockery of that. But I have been told, and I found out on literature as well, that that is not the case actually. What he said was very realistic. These can be done. Everybody was, thinking that he must be mad to think that, inject that disinfectant into the lung. But a medical person has indicated that, medicine dumped into the lungs happens all the time. And I'm talking about a practitioner who has done it himself. And he said that he has dumped respiratory medicine down an endotactyl tube, into the lungs. He's done it quite often, actually. He said that, it's a practice the doctors will know, not the journalist will know about it. When babies are born, he stated that when babies are born prematurely, guess what? Yes, they inject the lungs with a medicine called surfactant. So, what this person is saying that, when babies are born prematurely, the doctors inject lungs with a medicine called surfactant that helps keep the alveoli open to oxygenate the lungs. I'll repeat the statement again. When babies are born prematurely, doctors inject the lungs with a medicine called surfactant that keeps the alveoli open to oxygenate the lungs. And also he stated that antibiotics are sometimes injected into the infected parts of lungs through a chest tube. If you're medics, you'll know that. You have done it probably. He stated that antibiotics are sometimes injected into the infected parts of lungs through a chest tube. It's a disinfectant, actually. This is a disinfectant. Antibiotics is a disinfectant. So why is everyone uproar over this at all? This is coming from a doctor who has used it, and he has stated that he has done it himself many times, not once, and other doctors must have done the same thing, actually. So it's nothing extraordinary, or President Trump is make some statement, but it is actually what he said, that he asked to look into it. He never mentioned a product by name. Lysol, the American disinfectant manufacturer, they have put a statement, but he never mentioned Lysol by name. He said misinformation, and it is actually what he said is there is some justification, and he said, try it, and you have to try. We are always trying, and the doctors are always trying, and the researchers, and all the therapeutic companies are looking for a solution, and so his suggestion make some sense to some people, actually, and who knows. Now, one of the things worries me, and one of the things I had a certain shock, actually, about Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. He has, obviously he's got interest in, although he looks like a saint figure, but he's a businessman after all, and he's, promoting the global covering of, mobile, tracking of the mobile of the whole world, actually. So, and that actually bring business to IT sector. That is one of the reasons, actually. But I have found out that he has publicly said that he stated that reducing population growth by 10 to 15% by means of vaccination. I quote that he has said at some stages that he would like to see reducing the population of the world by 10 to 15% by means of vaccination. And I'm quoting this very openly. He, actually UNICEF and WHO have already been credibly accused of internationally sterilizing Kenyan children. He was involved in sterilizing Kenyan children. That is again a fact one can check. His hidden agenda was that he induced HCG antigen in tetanus vaccine. So he has hidden HCG antigen in tetanus vaccine to treat some children in Kenya. And it has now come out that was his initiative, and it's I would say it's medical malpractice and crime against humanity. That's what he's been involved in, and that is very, very worrying to everyone. So basically, the main point I'm trying to make today is that coronavirus is genetically engineered virus, and it won't be going any soon. It will last for months and months throughout the world. It will also revive again in most of the country, and all the country it will revive again, and there is no single vaccination that will cure it. So I will end it here. I will like if you can share and send any comments to me. Thank you.